You want to show off your feet tattoos? Hey everybody, and welcome to Bible Study Week 2. And today we're talking about God Builds a Nation. So this is the story of Abraham. Really great story. This is the kid version, so after we read it, I'll fill in some of the more adult portions that it left out. I don't wear shoes, so I guess you didn't really have to either. You could just hang out in socks. I had to take Tylenol before we started because she's been giving me a headache all day. I'm kidding. It happens quick.
Whatever.
I'm kidding. But
we don't need you. I can do this alone.
So I'm gonna, before we start reading that, I just want to give everybody a minute to join into the live video and get ready to read. And again, if you guys don't have the story at home, we use the kids version of the story. And like I said, it's because in our group, we have a lot of new Christians, new to the Bible, never read it, don't know the stories, and the normal story was still a little over their heads, and we wanted to start really basic. And it's a great read. I mean, even from somebody who's read the Bible several times, and studied it, I still find myself learning new information from reading a simplified version, and it stays true to God's Word. So it's a really cool book. We're happy to ship one out to you if you can't afford one and you'd like one to do Bible study. We'll pay for it. We'll cover all the costs. We'll cover the cost for you and everybody in your group that wants to do it. No problem. But if you can't afford it, I mean, you don't have to use us. You can buy it yourself. You don't want to pay for all of them.
Just message him if you need one.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, nevertheless, hopefully everybody's joined in as we read chapter 2 of the story for kids. Let me just give you guys a quick overview while we're waiting for people to join of what we read last week, just in case you missed it. So, the first chapter was about the creation story. So, in the beginning, God created, and then we had day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, as He created all of the light, the darkness, land, the animals, the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, man, woman, plants, etc. So that was mainly the first couple pages there. After that, we talked about the very first sin, where Eve was convinced by the serpent to eat from the forbidden tree that God said they couldn't eat from. He said, eat from anything you want, don't eat these 2 trees. And so Eve didn't listen, she ate it. She gave some to Adam, he ate it. God came out, pretty much said, why'd you do this? Eve said, it was the snake's fault. The snake said, I don't know, I don't even know why I did it. Adam said, I did it because my wife told me to do it, which is usually my excuse. And that didn't fly with God, so God said, you're going to have extreme pain when giving birth to children, and you're going to have to work for everything you have, essentially.
And I did.
So I have to labor the lands. Yeah, I labor all the time. Like, just being around you is exhausting. So in return, I give you painful childbirth.
Oh, you're so on a roll to sleep on this couch today.
The little couch?
Yeah, you get the little one.
Wow. So, let's see. So after that, let me see how far they went. I can't remember.
No.
Okay, so after sin came into the world, Adam and Eve had kids, and they had kids, But, after sin was in the world, it just ran rampant. We had the first murder. We had Cain and Abel, the first murder. They had kids, and through the generations, it got more and more wicked, turning to sin only and completely neglecting God. And they got to the point where they were never going to turn away from their sin. And God said, look at man that I created. He goes, man, I don't know what happened. All they care about is sin. They're never going to turn back to me. So God, in all of His omnipotence, omniwisdom, He knows everything, says, well, they're never going to turn back to me, so this is what I must do. I must kill everybody and start over. And what He did is He killed everybody except Noah, who was faithful to God and God's Word, but he's the only man left. So Noah got to survive, his wife got to survive, his 3 sons and their 3 wives, 2 of every kind of animal. Noah was very obedient to God. He built the ark as God had told him to and instructed him to, and it began to rain and pour. They survived. Everybody else died. They were on the ark. It rained for 40 days, 40 nights. We all know that. The flood lasted, I think it was like 150 days, 147, something like that. And then the waters died down. And they repopulated. So people would say, well, why would God make man if he just had to kill them all? Well, he didn't kill them all. He didn't kill Noah, his wife, and the 3 sons and 3 wives. So 8 people. 8 people who knew the story of Adam and Eve, knew the creation story, knew how the world got to this point, and was able to tell their sons and raise them up in the way of God, explain to them why God had to flood the earth and how he'll never do it again. And it was essential for God to do that, to show his power and to show our guilt and sin. Now, he didn't kill everybody. We're going to start new and start in a place where we knew to worship and honor God and his power. So I think it was important for God to do that. You know, God's in control of life and death. He gives life, he can take life away. It's the way it works. And, you know, if he gives life, he's the one who gets to take it away. It's not our say to say, I want to live longer, do this or do that. Every day is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Got that from Kung Fu Panda. That's so cool, right? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's what I thought you were going to say. So, let me just make sure I covered it. It was 150 days. I was right. And that was it. If we went over the discussion questions, do you like to create things? Describe something you have made or drawn. It's really childlike. Tell me about it.
I draw a lot of things all the time.
But, they talk about the rainbow in the sky. That's something I want to talk about. So they say God put the rainbow in the sky as a covenant. We talked about this last week. Of God's promise to never flood the earth and kill everybody again. People say, well, wasn't there rainbows before that? Well, in my mind, and the Bible doesn't explain this, but I think science wants to explain that it works this way, it always worked this way. And in me, it didn't work that way unless God created it to work that way. If he didn't, then it just doesn't work that way. We have no knowledge of it. It doesn't exist. Like the light wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't work. So there was no rainbow before that, because before that, when light would hit the rain droplets and it would reflect into the sky, nothing would happen. It wouldn't show the color spectrum. But God changed that when he made his promise and made it so that science worked that way to show the rainbow and keep his promise. That's just the way I look at it. But now we'll read chapter 2, God Builds a Nation. This is going to read for us. I'm a little stuffed up still, and plus, like, why would I do it? Kidding. I'm done getting in trouble.
You're
I
gonna stay
know.
stuffed up. Okay. Abram and his wife Sarai lived in Haran. God had a plan for Abram. God wanted Abram to start a new nation. He would love and bless Abram and all his future family members. But Abram and Sarai were old and they still didn't have any children. How could they build this nation if they had no children or grandchildren? God promised he would take care of that. The Lord had said to Abram, "Leave your country and your people, leave your father's family, go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. You will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you. I will put a curse on anyone who calls down a curse on you. All nations on earth will be blessed because of you." So Abram left just as the Lord had told him. Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot. They took all of the things they had gotten in Haran, and they also took the workers they had gotten there. They set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abram had faith, so he obeyed God. God called him to go to a place he would later receive as his own, so he went. He did it even though he didn't know where he was going. Lot was moving around with Abram. Lot also had flocks and herds and tents. But the land didn't have enough food for both of them. They had large herds and many servants, so they weren't able to stay together. The Lord spoke to Abram after Lot had left him. He said, "Look up from where you are, look north and south, look east and west. I will give you all of the land that you've seen. I will give it to you and your children after you forever. I will make your children like the dust of the earth. Can dust be counted? If it can, then your children can be counted. Go, walk through the land, see how long and wide it is. I am giving it to you." So Abram moved his tents. He went to live near the large trees of Mamre at Hebron. There he built an altar altar to honor the Lord. Sometime later, Abram had a vision. The Lord said to him, Abram, do not be afraid. I am like a shield to you. I am your very great reward. But Abram said, Lord and King, what can you give me? I still don't have any children. My servant Eliezer came from Damascus. When I die, he will get everything I own. Abram continued, you haven't given me any children, so a servant in my house will get everything I own. Then a message came to Abram from the Lord. He said, this man will not get what belongs to you. A son will come from your own body. He will get everything you own. The Lord took Abram outside and said, look up at the sky, count the stars if you can. Then he said to him, that is how many children you will have. Abram believed the Lord. The Lord accepted Abram because he believed. So his faith made him right with the Lord. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him. He said, I am the mighty God. Walk with me and live without any blame. I will now put into practice my covenant between me and you. I will greatly increase your numbers. Abram fell with his face to the ground. God said to him, as for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. You will not be called Abram anymore. Your name will be Abraham, because I have made you a father of many nations. I will give you many children. Nations will come from you. Doesn't like it, Daddy.
What's to read, Mom?
And kings will come from you. I will make my covenant with you. It will last forever. It will be between me and you and your children after you for all time to come. I will be your God, and I will be the God of all of your family after you. You are now living in Canaan as an outsider, but I will give you the whole land of Canaan. You will own it forever, so will your children after you, and I will be their God. God also said to Abraham, as for Sarai your wife, do not call her Sarai anymore. Her name will be Sarah. I will give her my blessing. You can be sure that I will give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she will be the mother of nations. King of nations will come for her. The Lord was gracious to Sarah, just as he had said he would be. He did for Sarah what he had promised to do. Sarah became pregnant. She had a son by Abraham when he was old. He was born at the exact time God had promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah had by him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has given laughter to me. Everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. She continued, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? But I've had a son by him when he is old. Abraham had faith, so God made it possible for him to become a father. He became a father even though he was too old. Sarah also was too old to have children, but Abraham believed that the one who made the promise was faithful. Because Abraham trusted God even when things seemed impossible, God blessed him. Abraham was very rich. He had many sheep and cattle, and he finally had the son he always wanted. God continued to bless Abraham's family and create a special nation.
Well, great story, and it is true to the Word of God for the most part, but it definitely is very kid-friendly because it was not that happy of a story. In fact, there's a lot of turmoil in the story of Abraham. Mama's turn. So, I'm only going to correct one pronunciation. I know it's Canaan for the land, though I'm not going to act like a complete expert because I just think about how bad I feel for kids that have to read this because everything's so hard to pronounce in the Bible. So I usually just guess and sometimes check, but let's talk about the story of Abraham. So here's Abraham, and well, it's Abram at the time, and he has his wife, and it's spelled S-A-R-A-I, so it's Sarai, something like that was pronounced before it was Sarah. So God tells him he'll make him to a great nation, he'll bless him, he'll make him a great name. So they're in this land, and they feel like they don't, how do I explain this? They feel like they don't fit. There's not enough room for all of them. Everybody's fighting. So Lot decides, well, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go elsewhere. And so Lot leaves, and Abraham goes, you shouldn't leave. We should do what God says. We should listen to him. We should stay together. We're family. You're my only family. You're all I have. And I think Lot's because you're like his cousin. So Lot leaves with his wife. His wife's always convincing him. She's like, yeah, we should go. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him about his God talk. I'm tired of that. And Lot's just always torn about trying to listen to Abraham or my wife, so he leaves. And while he's gone, Abraham is spoken to by God. He trusts God. He's very, very honorable to God. So what happens to Lot is he leaves, and he gets caught by some other people. And they raid them. They take all their goods and stuff, and then they string them up. And they're taking advantage of Lot and his wife and his people. Well, Abraham, one survivor comes to Abraham and tells him about this. And Abraham gathers together all of his men, and he goes to where Lot is. And the people are with Abraham say, like, you know, there's so few of us and so many of them, we're never going to survive this battle. We shouldn't fight them. But they sneak up on them at night, and they kill them all. And then they release Lot and everything, and then Lot goes, you see the miracle, or Abraham says, you see the miracles performed? There were so few of us and so many of them, but God delivered them into our hands. And so Abraham's thinking Lot's going to go back with him at this point, but Lot's like, no, we're still going to go do our own thing. My wife wants to do her own thing. She's had enough of this place. We're going. So they go. Abraham trusts God that he's going to have the descendants. Sarah doesn't believe. So that's kind of a back and forth battle as well. But Abraham in his faith gets a messenger to arrive, and it's an angel of God. And I might be messing up the order here, but just forgive me if I am. But Abraham comes, or the messenger comes, and it's actually an angel. And it reveals to Abraham's an angel. And what happens is God tells Abraham, and chooses to tell him, keep in mind, because God doesn't have to tell Abraham anything. But he chooses to tell Abraham, and he says, that city that your cousin's in, I'm gonna destroy that city because there's no one good in it. And Abraham's like, you're a just God. Slow your roll. Don't just go destroying cities. What if there's 50 good men in that city? Would you destroy the whole city and kill the good men with it? And he's like, if there's 50 men, I would spare it. And Abraham's like, 40. God's like, there are 40, I'd spare it. And Abraham's like, 30. And God's like, come on, Abraham, there's 30, I'd spare it. So it goes on and on. I think it's down to 10. And so God sends angels into the land, and Sodom and Gomorrah, we know it as, and they go there, and they don't find anybody good there except for Lot. And God chooses to spare Lot and his family for Abraham's sake. So the angels only find Lot as a good person there, and obviously that's not enough to not destroy the city. So the angels lead them out of the city, and as they're leaving and it's being plummeted with fire, the angel says to them, he says, don't look back at the city. To do so would be a sin, and you would surely die. Something along those lines. Well, guess who didn't listen? Lot's wife, who was never really faithful to God, believed, didn't like Abraham, nothing. Looked back and turned to a pillar of salt. So that's the story there. Next, Abraham is supposed to have kids, but Sarah, like I said, doubts. She's like, I don't think, I'm too old, it's never going to happen. I don't know who you're listening to, but it must not be God, because it's just never going to happen for me. But you should carry on your seed in your generation. Go sleep with my maid. Now, a lot of people read this and it's like, that's kind of weird. But back then, people had multiple wives, it was cool. Not cool, because technically, they weren't really married. Secondly, still not cool, because you have to trust God. God said, I'm going to give you descendants, and he said he's going to do it with Sarah, not with your wife's maid. But Sarah convinces him, and it doesn't take much convincing, because Abraham is a man, and he is full of sin, even though he is a great man. Don't get me wrong, but he's still sinful. So he's like, oh, go sleep with that young maid over there? I mean, if you really want me to, I'll talk to her. See where it goes. So he goes over and he sleeps with the maid. Now this, and it doesn't really go into detail in the Bible, but this wasn't pleasing to God. This wasn't God's plan at all. God didn't want Abraham to go do this, but of course he knew he was going to. To me, it was a moment of doubt and weakness to not trust God's plan. So Abraham sleeps with her. She gets pregnant, and she gives birth to Ishmael. Well, Ishmael's growing up, and Abraham's so happy to have a kid. He keeps showing Ishmael a lot of attention. And eventually Sarah gets jealous, and he's like, and sees all the attention Ishmael's getting and stuff, and she's getting more and more jealous. And then finally, an angel visits Sarah, and he's like, you're going to get pregnant. It's going to happen soon in the next season. And Sarah's like, ha, right. And then the angel's like, okay, well, God, the angel says, okay, well, because you laughed at me, and I'm God, you get to name your kid Laughter. Your kid's name is going to be Isaac. And she's like, oh, okay, guess that happened. So they move on, and
I like your 21st century commentary for these
oh man,
characters.
they used some really high-tech English back then. It wasn't like today where they use slang and stuff. They were really particular with their words. So Sarah gets pregnant next season, and she's like, oh my goodness, it's a miracle. And she's really, like, you're supposed to be healthy and everything. And she gives birth. She survives the birth, has a baby, names it Isaac, as she was instructed to. And now she's even more jealous of her maid and the situation she helped create over there. And she's like, who's this Ishmael guy that he should get the inheritance being the firstborn son to you? No, Isaac should have it. I'm your wife. Make them go. Make them leave. Make them leave our people, leave everything, make her go. And so Abraham's like, dude, I don't know what to do. I'm in a mess. All I did was listen to her. I shouldn't have. Those you counting, that's okay. But he's like, I was just listening. I knew I should have listened to her. Let that be a lesson. Don't listen to your wife. I'm kidding. But nevertheless, he realizes he's in a jam. So he prays to God. Awesome man, because what do you do when you're in trouble? You pray. What do you do in good times? You pray. Abraham always kept his eyes on God. So he prays, and God says, hey, you got to listen to your wife on this one. Send her away. But send her with supplies, and know that I'll watch over her and make sure that nothing happens. If they come into their new land safely, and I'll watch over him as he grows. So God's like, yeah, you got to send him off. You're not going to have a healthy relationship as long as they are here. But trust me when I say I'll take care of them. So Abraham, faithful servant, says, go ahead and go. Send them off. I'm going to listen to God. But here's where it gets crazy, because it wasn't already, right? Like, that's enough turmoil for most families. But not for Abraham, because in the story of Abraham and Sarah, what happens next? God says to Abraham, he says, hey, you know that son that you've been waiting for so long? Like, you've been loyal and faithful for many, many years to me. But I want you to go ahead and kill him. And Abraham's like, what? God, I think my hands aren't folded right. You didn't come through real clearly. Let me, which way? Is it this or is it, which way? Oh, okay, you want me to do what? And God says, I want you to kill your son. Now, of course, I make this a little more fun. But God says, I want you to kill your son. And Abraham's like, okay, heard you that time. Like, kill him, like, how? Like, with words? Like, I'm going to kill you with these rhymes. Too embarrassing. Okay. But Abraham's skeptical. He's like, okay, you really want me to kill my son? And so God says, I want you to kill your son. I want you to take him up to the mountain. I want you to sacrifice him for me. Now, people reading this as a Christian, you're still in Genesis. You're like, what have I read so far? Like, why is he sleeping with a maid? And why is this God who seemed good in the first few chapters want to kill a child? Who kills a child? And so now you're just like, wow, this just took a turn. Now, it depends on your personality. You might be like, I don't know if I can read the rest of this. You might be like, this just got interesting. There's two people, all right? So I'm the second person. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen now? Now you're in trouble. So Abraham is so faithful to God that he does it. Now, people talk about this all the time. Why did God ask Abraham to do this? Well, I can give you a couple reasons. First off, look at the symbology there with Jesus. Jesus is God's son. God sacrificed his own son. God's not asking Abraham to do anything that God doesn't already know that he's going to do himself. The symbology there is amazing. Secondly, what does God want from us? He wants us to love him. He wants us to choose to love him. That's why we're given free will from the beginning. And we chose sin, but we were given free will. God gave us free will to freely love him, to freely obey him. And he loves that. God loves when we love him. He rejoices in that. But God wants us to love him not just as the back burner, not just as, I love this, God, this. No, God called us to love him more than anything. That's a lot, right? So God called me to love him more than I love my wife. Even though I love her and I would lay my life down for her in a heartbeat and do anything for her.
Do you?
I do. I would give her anything. Anything she asked me to do, I would do it. She said, I want you to do like a triple backflip. I'd be like, give me some days to train. I'll see what I can do. I'd do anything for her. But as much as I love her, I love God more. Come here, princess. As much as I love this little adorable tomato-faced girl right here, and how I do anything for her, and how if anyone broke her heart, I would kill them, future boys, I still love God more. So to me, this is a test of Abraham to say, Abraham, all you've wanted your whole life is a son. I gave you a son. Now that your son has grown and he's in his 10, 9, somewhere around there, would you kill him? Do you love me enough, Abraham, that you trust me to kill him? You trust me when I tell you to do this thing? And so Abraham's like, I'm so torn, but God, I love you more than I love my son, my wife, my life, myself. I trust you more than I trust myself, my wife, my son. God, I will do this thing for you. So to me, it was God's way of saying, you love your son an awful lot, but Abraham, do you love me more? Are you my chosen one to bring on the lineage of my son, to do this? If you can pass this, Abraham, if you can pass this trial, you will be rewarded so heavily for it. And what did he do? He went up that mountain, he took the stake, laid his son down, and just as he went to stab his son, an angel of the Lord stopped him and said, thank you, good and faithful. He said, I don't remember what he says exactly. But he said something along the lines of, do not do this. You are a good and faithful servant of God. You have loved and trusted God. You are very blessed. Please take this as sacrifice instead. And there's a ram stuck in a bush, and they sacrifice it and burn it as a burnt offering to God. That's the story of Abraham. And through Abraham, a nation is built. A nation that never falls. It goes all the way to the lineage of Jesus. A lot of us think the Bible is a bunch of stories about men close to God. Well, it is. It is a bunch of stories about men close to God and their journeys and things that happened around and different prophets and stuff. But what the Bible is more than that is it goes all the way from Adam to Jesus. And all those people in the Bible that we hear about are all part of that genealogy of Jesus. So that's really cool, and that's what the Bible is. It's basically like a family book